Good afternoon and welcome to the latest issue of Play Print 21, the weekly TV news bulletin for the ANZ print industry, brought to you by Print 21, the people who know print. This week's episode is sponsored by Ricoh. Imagine change. The big news story in print this week is the end of JobKeeper. Hailed by the Treasurer and its architect Josh Frydenberg as a great success, JobKeeper has been used by printers large and small across the country for a year, paying $750 a week to staff in wages, $650 from January, whether they worked or not. It cost the country $90 billion. Together with the other three planks of the government's COVID support strategy, no evictions from commercial premises if the rent's not paid, ability to trade on if debts are less than $1 million, and protection from creditor winding up orders for 6 months, JobKeeper is responsible for the survival of a good number of printers, especially those whose work dried up in the early days. As a result of the COVID support, only a handful of print businesses hit the wall. Far fewer, in fact, than would be the case in a normal year. After all, with a ring fence around wages, rent and creditors, it was fairly easy to stay alive. Now, however, the stimulus package has ended. The government's hope is that as it stops, the upturn in the economy will be large enough to pick up most of the slack. In manufacturing, which includes print, there's been a 76% drop in the number of employees on JobKeeper. 3/4 of the staff are back, in other words. Andrew McCauley, CEO at PVACA, said JobKeeper was a lifesaver for many in the print industry, particularly in those states that has had irrational and erratic COVID responses with unpredictable shutdowns. Some of the industry is picking up, but there are areas of concern, particularly in printers who service vulnerable sectors like tourism, and those printers are going to feel a pinch as JobKeeper ends. Andrew McCauley says PVACA has made submissions to government about it, and it hopes to see some support at state and federal level. Charles Watson, General Manager of IR Governance and Policy at Real Media Collective, he said that JobKeeper wage subsidy was a crucial government response. It lessened the negative impacts of COVID-19 across the Australian economy. Although he said it wasn't a golden bullet, it formed an integral part of the government stimulus package and provided wage subsidisation to 3.6 million workers during the COVID period. Watson said it's fulfilled its purpose by keeping workers employed and ensuring businesses didn't lose their skilled employees. He said, like many sectors, our industry benefited from that scheme. But then he said there are those that in the industry that have had to remain on the scheme until its conclusion. And Watson says those businesses will likely face ongoing challenges and need to think proactively about their next steps and implement personalised solutions for their particular business circumstances. In other news, the Queensland newspaper industry has taken a battering this week. First, the embattled Queensland government axed compulsory newspaper advertising in regional papers by its departments, sending it online instead. The change to the law has been introduced and will stop hundreds of thousands of dollars going to printed newspapers. Instead, the ads will go to online platforms or, where practical, to the department's own websites. The move has, as you can imagine, prompted a furious pushback from the Queensland Country Press Association. G-Express is reporting that QCPA President Phil LePetit is saying that the proposed changes in rules will have serious repercussions for print publisher members. Petit has written to Queensland State Treasurer Cameron Dick expressing his serious concern and pointing out that since the raft of closures that came with COVID, some 23 new regional newspapers have been started in Queensland, reaching 1.3 million people each week. Second tough news in the Queensland newspaper industry is that News Corp will stop distribution of its bigger titles to much of regional Queensland by September. It's a year after it canned production of many of its local papers. News Corp cited the high cost of distribution to regional Queensland as the reason news agents will stop being supplied with print titles in big towns including Mount Isa and Longreach. Local residents will no longer be able to read the printed versions of 8 news mastheads, including the Courier Mail, the Australian, the Daily Telegraph, the Townsville Bulletin, the Cairns Post, Toowoomba Chronicle, the Weekly Times and the Sportsman. Tough news, leaving the population west of the Great Dividing Range there bereft. Reports say the decision impacts news agents west of Charters Towers and Emerald. On a brighter note, congratulations this week to Active Display Group and IVE, who took home no fewer than 5 gongs each from the Shop 2020 Awards. Active scoring 2 golds, Dashing Group took out the People's Choice Award. Visual merchandising is a land of opportunity for creative print businesses. Congratulations also to Centrum Printing, one of the sponsors of the Shop Awards and celebrating its 20th anniversary this year, with CEO Sandra Duarte saying the best is yet to come. Finally this week, Print21 is in the news. It launched the print industry's own podcast, The Print Files. The first episode is titled It's Been a Big Month in Print, and it was myself and our publisher Linda Hewson discussing all the big stories, issues and trends to emerge in print this month. Go to your favourite podcast platform to download the Print Files or to the Print21 news website where there's a link. That's it for this week's issue of Play Print21. Thanks to our sponsor Ricoh, Imagine Change. This is Wayne Robinson signing off. Go to the website for all these stories and more.